question of fear, of kind of worry, and a lot of people who were trying to ask other questions, but you could see this underlying fear that was coming out. And I was listening to a friend of mine talk about all the things that he was doing around his house for EMF stuff, so electromagnetic frequencies that can be negative for your health. And he was doing a lot. And there is a lot of research that's coming out that's saying, our body does get affected by our Wi-Fi router and by, these faulty electric outlets and things like that. But there was so much energy that he was using mentally towards this correction that you could see the fear in him. Like, what he was having was a fear response to all of the things going on in his environment. And my response to him was whatever benefit that you're probably getting from a kind of changing your environment and reducing that EMF exposure, you're probably negating that by being so afraid and living on this constant kind of fear edge. And that's something I see a lot with patients. When we start looking at how do we heal and how do we get things better, we're really looking at three things. We've got like the physical stress, we've got the chemical stress, and we've got the emotional stress. So when you've got those three things, to get someone better, we've got to at least correct two. If you've got, physical and emotional stress, you get that better. A lot of times the chemical is going to improve. So physical is kind of what we do here. That's how's the body moving, the muscles, the joints, the nerves, everything in there that we can move and physically get better. The chemical is going to be like, that's what we're doing blood tests for. That's what we want to know is inside of you. That's your blood levels, your vitamins, your minerals, your hormones, all of that stuff. And then, your emotional is all of the things that you think and believe that happen to you. That's the stress that you're dealing with every day. That's the fear that you're dealing with every day. And that one alone, they all affect each other. They all sit there. If that one stays like that, then the trickle down effect is that it can negatively affect the other two significantly. For us to get you better, we've got to address those three in some aspect, but we've got to get two significantly better. So over here, what we'll do is look, let's give you the absolute best care to get the physical stuff better. And I truly think that for those of our patients that come in and do like the full advanced healing programs that we offer, it's the best stuff that we have from a physical healing standpoint. We can get the joints corrected, the tissues, the nerves, the cells, all of that can improve. Now, if that's all we do and we just get the physical stuff better, a lot of those people feel better, but if they don't do one of the other two, it's going to be short term. So, that's why we're such a big proponent of actually kind of cleaning up the diet, taking the supplements that you need to take, because we've got to get that chemical environment in your body better so that your physical changes can actually take place, that your physical changes can heal and your body has the energy to go through that. The one that I think a lot of people miss that is one of the reasons they stay there. They stay in that kind of pain, sick, hurting, damaged area, is that emotional stress, that fear that we kind of constantly live with, that something's wrong with me. I'm dealing with something whenever I'm feeling this stuff. And it's a really hard thing to explain. I'm doing a lot of writing and stuff right now. And it's like, how do you explain what that mindset is? But I see it. And when I see those patients, I know like, this is going to be a deep treatment, but because for me to get you better, we're going to have to get to a lot deeper level than, oh, hey, here's a muscle spasm. I need to release the muscle spasm and you're going to feel better. Whenever you're in that mindset of like constantly going in and trying to find what's wrong, what could this be? And there's this fear that's associated, or this anxiety and stress that's associated with, what might be going wrong with that. The negative effects of that is a very massive trickle down effect. I mean, they see that people in that state, in that fear and anxiety state, their body breaks down foods differently. Their body breaks down energy or tries to produce energy differently. Their hormone response to foods are different. So when we're in that state, it's like we've got to address that to get the other two better. We've got to start to dive in and say, what were those experiences that I'm dealing with that I didn't process, that I'm kind of feeling like I'm afraid to bring up? What were those feelings that maybe I held on to that seemed to have started this? And there's a lot of people out there who are working on these types of things that have some really good programs. And look, most of my patients, when we try and have this conversation, it's like, okay, well, are you trying to say that I'm crazy? And it's like, no, that's not what this is. This is a part of all of our lives. And yet it's uncomfortable for us to talk about. And so it doesn't get talked about. I have patients who will come in and we'll talk about their diagnosis and like say, are you afraid of that? And, their eyes start to kind of tear up. No one's ever asked them that. Or, their primary care or their doctor or, their therapist or chiropractor or whatever, goes down the checkbox and says like, are you depressed? No, I'm not depressed. Okay. And we move on, and we don't actually get to some of these underlying emotional kind of constructs that really can negatively affect our health in a big, big way. And I really think that if that's something that we focus on even a little bit, we'd have so many more people who have chronic pain that actually have a light. They actually can see there's a way for me to get out of this, and I can do that. But we've got to kind of go in and work on some of that stuff. And it's a hard thing to do. So when we're dealing with that stuff, one thing to do is to just call it out. Hey, I am dealing with some fear. I'm afraid of what's going on. I'm afraid I'm not going to get better. I'm afraid of what this would mean if I don't get better. And actually just state it, write it down. And a lot of times just doing that stuff will start to kind of give your brain this reprieve. You're like, okay, I can put that down. I don't have to hold on to that. And then we've got to start kind of getting into that positive thought process. And if you do a couple of those things, like one of the things I want to do is combine those types of things with our float therapy. I know a lot of y'all have tried the float therapy stuff. It's such a great way to just get your kind of, mind to go in and fix a lot of that emotional baggage that we're all carrying around. So that's something that we really want to kind of work on a little bit and see if we can't, combine some of these things. There's a woman like Sydney Hopper, I think is her name, who's doing a lot of really good stuff. She's got some great videos that take people through, these visualization exercises, these breath work exercises, and try and kind of go back and try and clear out some of these stoppages that can negatively affect the physical, the chemical. So that's something I see a lot right now. And I'm not saying everybody's got it, but a lot of people who are having negative health responses throughout this last, 2 to 3 months, if you've had a health issue that's gotten much more progressive, I would spend a little bit of time thinking like, how much am I, in a fear or worry or anxiety state? Am I thinking a lot about what's going on, in me? And does that bring a fear response as opposed to a resilient response? Okay, I can get this body stronger. I can get healthier. Here's the steps I'm going to take. And we want to start to cultivate that. We want to start to cultivate that resiliency. That's one of the things that I like about what a lot of people say when they do either sauna or cryotherapy is they don't want to do it, and it's this hard thing, and they come out of the other side saying like, oh, awesome, I feel better. I overcame this thing. My body was able to tolerate these cold temperatures, this cold plunge, or these hot temperatures, and the sweat that comes with it. And so that's something that affects a lot of people, and it's an easy way for us to kind of step into that, doing some sort of a resilient exercise, whether that be, cold plunges, heat, exercise, running. I was listening to a doctor talk about it, and he tells his patients, do anything that you can do to get your heart to a point where you're like, I'm on the verge of feeling like I can't do this for a second. He was like, that little boost of hormones and getting the blood pumping and getting the heart pumping kind of tells your body, hey, I'm back, I'm alive, I can do this stuff, I can do something hard, and it's going to be okay. So look, it's hot. Don't go take off and try and run like 5 miles if you haven't done that, but do any little resilient exercise and start kind of thinking about this a little bit. I really believe that if you are in one of these kind of fear and anxiety states, and that's your natural, because of no fault of your own, just how you've gotten here through life, that we've got to spend some time to correct that, to truly come out on the other end and say, I'm healthy, I'm good, I feel great, I'm healed, and I'm living the life that I'm supposed to live. So I hope that helps. I got a lot of feedback and questions on that. Spend some time, kind of think about some of that, because it's deeper than an easy yes or no question. So I know that's deeper than a lot of people want to get whenever we're talking about some of these things, but that's the whole idea. That's what we're all about, is how do we actually make these changes. So